Hey everyone, I'm Liz Fairy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to finish the crochet butterfly appliques that I started in my last video. Last time, we completed the lace for the butterfly wings. In this video, I'll show you how to make the body and how to add tulle to the wings to fill it in with color. First, I'll make the body. So I'm going to begin with a slip knot, then I'm going to chain 12 for the foundation chain. Then I'll chain one more to count as the first stitch of the row, so I'll mark that chain with my bobby pin. Now into the third chain from the hook, I'm going to single crochet, and then I'll single crochet into each of the next 3 chains. Now I'll half double crochet into the next chain, and then double crochet into each of the next 3 chains. Now I'll half double crochet into the next chain, and then slip stitch into the next chain. Now into the last chain, I'm going to double crochet 8 times. I'm going to double crochet 4 times on this side of the chain, then I'm going to turn to the other side, and I'll double crochet 4 more on the other side of the chain. Alright, I finished with my 8 double crochets. Now I'm going to take the tail of my slip knot and pull on the tail to tighten the slip knot around the bottoms of the stitches, just to make sure that the slip knot closes tightly. Now I'm going to mirror the stitches on the other side of the chain, working the stitches of this side over the tail of the slip knot, starting with a slip stitch in the next chain, then a half double crochet in the next chain, a double crochet into the next 3 chains, a half double crochet in the next chain, a single crochet in each of the next 4 chains, and then a slip stitch into the last chain. Then I'm just going to cut off the tail of the slip knot here. And now I'm going to do a row of slip stitches around the body, and when I get to the top of the head, I'm going to create the antennas. First, I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch on the other side of the body. Mark that stitch. And then I'll slip stitch into the next 14 stitches. Alright, I finished with 15 total slip stitches, 1 into the first stitch and then 14 along the side of the body. Now I'm going to create the antenna. First I'm going to chain 10, then I'm going to pull up a loop into the second chain from the hook and into the next 3 chains. Now I have 5 loops on my hook. I'm going to pull a loop through all 5 loops. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the same chain that I just pulled a loop in. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the remaining 5 chains. Next, I'm going to slip stitch into the same stitch of the head where I chained up from to make the antenna. And now that's the first antenna made. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches at the top of the head. And now I'll repeat the same thing to create the next antenna. So chain 10, then pull up a loop in the second chain from the hook and the next 3 chains. Now I have 5 loops on my hook. I'm going to pull a loop through all 5 loops, and then slip stitch into the same stitch that I just pulled up a loop in. Now I'll slip stitch into the last 5 chains, and then I'll slip stitch into the same stitch of the head that I chained up from when making the antenna. Now I'll slip stitch into the next 13 stitches on the other side of the body. And now to finish the body, I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the row, and then I'm going to cut off my yarn. Next, I sewed each wing to each side of the body. And sewed in my remaining end. Now onto the blocking. I used the wet blocking method, which means that I soaked the applique in water, then pinned it into the shape that I wanted on a cushion. Then I waited for it to dry into the right shape. There are lots of methods of blocking you can try, but just keep in mind what your yarn or thread is made of in order to use the best method for your project. Wet blocking is a safe method to use for most fibers, since there's no heat needed. When I made the small lace butterfly though, I did use an iron, since the crochet thread that I used is made of 100% cotton. Now that I've finished blocking, I'm going to add a few layers of tulle to each wing. This step is optional. I'm going to do this with the smaller lace butterfly and leave the larger purple one as it is. First, I'll make the pattern for the tulle by tracing the wing on a sheet of paper. Then I used that pattern to cut out a few layers of tulle for each wing. To do that, I folded a few layers together and cut out my pattern twice, once for each wing. Next, I pinned the tulle to the back of each wing and used a needle and some black thread to sew the tulle to the wing around the edge. Now that I've sewn both the wings, I'm going to use some more of the same crochet thread that I used to make the butterfly to sew around the edge of each wing using a blanket stitch to cover up the raw edge of the tulle. I'm going to sew the blanket stitch from the back. Alright, I finished sewing the edge with a blanket stitch. Now this butterfly is done. I love how these butterflies came out. I think I'll make some faux pinned butterfly art out of the small lace one. I'm also excited to add a pair of butterfly wings to a doll, but that's a project for another day. There's honestly so many possibilities, like incorporating them into lace, sewing them down to decorate clothes, and the larger ones could even be a costume piece on a small child if you add a frame and some tulle. How would you use these butterfly appliques? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked this video, give it a like and share it on social media. If you made a project using this or any of my videos, I'd love to see it. You can tag or DM me on Instagram at LizFairy to show me what you've been working on. If you appreciate the work I do here and want to thank me with a donation, you can do that in one of two ways. You can subscribe to my Patreon campaign at patreon.com/fairyrings, or you can leave me a super thanks below the video right here on YouTube. If you enjoyed this project and would like to see other videos from me in the future, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and click the bell to receive notifications every time I post a new video. I can't wait to incorporate these butterfly wings into a couple of projects that I have in mind, but that's all I have for today's video, so I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!